I used to think the worst part of having a pool was keeping it clean, skimming leaves, balancing the chemicals, shelling out for chlorine like it was liquid gold. But let me tell you, that was nothing compared to dealing with my neighbor, Linda, and her pack of entitled buddies who treated my backyard like their personal resort. By the time I was done with them, though, they learned the hard way that my pool wasn't a free-for-all, and Linda's perfect highlights paid a price she'll never forget. I'm Jake, just a regular guy in a quiet little suburb outside Phoenix, Arizona. After years of busting my back in carpentry, I finally saved up enough to buy this modest house with a sparkling pool out back, my family slice of heaven. Picture it. A warm Saturday, me sipping a cold one on the deck, my kids splashing around, my wife, Sarah, laughing as she tosses them a beach ball. It wasn't a mansion, but it was ours, and I poured my soul into keeping it just right, mowing the lawn, scrubbing the deck, making sure that pool stayed crystal clear. Then Linda moved in next door, and let's just say, paradise got a little crowded. Linda wasn't your average neighbor. She was the queen of the cul-de-sac, or so she thought, mid-40s, fake tan, always strutting around in yoga pants and oversized sunglasses, barking orders like she still ran the homeowners association. She'd been on the HOA board years ago, but they kicked her out for being, well, a dictator in flip-flops. Didn't stop her, though. She'd march around with a notepad, nitpicking mailbox colors or how many days someone's Christmas lights stayed up. At first, I figure I just nod, smile, keep the peace. Big mistake. Linda didn't do peace, she did power trips. It started small, almost sneaky. I'd come home from work and notice wet footprints by the pool, a stray towel that wasn't ours, the faint smell of coconut sunscreen hanging in the air. Then one evening, I caught her through the kitchen window, Linda, lounging in my pool, sipping a margarita, her neon green swimsuit practically glowing in the dusk. I stepped outside, trying to stay calm. "Hey, Linda, this pool's private. Mind asking first?" She just laughed, twirling her glass. "Oh, Jake, don't be so uptight. We're neighbors. What's a little dip between friends?" "Friends?" I barely knew her. "It's my pool," I said, firmer. She waved me off like I was a kid whining about sharing toys. After that, it got worse. Linda didn't just sneak in, she threw full-on parties. Her crew would show up 4 or 5 women, sometimes a random guy or 2, blasting pop music from a cheap speaker, cackling loud enough to wake the dead. I'd come home to find empty wine bottles rolling around, chip bags stuffed in my deck chairs, even a deflated unicorn floatie bobbing sadly in the water. One time, I kid you not, there was a soggy hot dog floating in the deep end. I was livid. I paid for that pool, scrubbed the algae, balanced the pH, and here was Linda, turning it into her personal frat house. I confronted her again, this time not so polite. "Linda, get out and stay out." She smirked, leaning back on my lounge chair. "You're so dramatic, Jake. It's just a pool. Why hoard it?" That word hoard burned me up. Hoard? I'd worked overtime for years to afford this place, built the deck myself, calluses and all. And she had the nerve to call me selfish? The last straw was when I saw her Instagram post. Scrolling one night, I nearly dropped my phone. There was Linda, posing in my pool like it was the freaking Bellagio, her arms flung wide, caption reading, "Living large in the neighborhood's best-kept secret. Pool life community vibes." The comments were a knife twist. "OMG, Linda, you're slaying. Where's this oasis?" I was done. Done with her smugness, her entitlement, her treating my property like a public park. That's when I started planning, not just to stop her, but to make her regret every single splash. I didn't want to go full psycho, no cops, no HOA circus. Linda thrived on drama, and she'd twist any formal complaint to make me look like the bad guy. No, I needed something smarter, something that had hit her where it hurt her vanity. Linda was obsessed with her image. Perfect nails, flawless makeup, hair dyed a new shade of platinum every month. So, One evening, sitting by the pool with a beer, I spotted the jug of industrial-strength bleach in my shed. The label screamed, "Caution, may cause irritation." And just like that, a light bulb went off. I wouldn't hurt her nothing dangerous, nothing permanent, but I could make her next pool party a nightmare she'd never forget. I spent nights researching pool chemistry, scrolling forums at 2 a.m. while Sarah slept. Too much bleach, I learned, could dry out hair, irritate skin, fade swimsuits just enough to cause chaos without crossing into lawsuit territory. I bought a couple extra jugs at the hardware store, kept it casual, like I was just stocking up on cleaning supplies. Then I waited for Linda's next move. She had to pattern big parties on weekends, smaller dips midweek with her closest cronies. I picked a Saturday, set up my security cameras to catch every angle, and tested the audio, hoping to capture her inevitable meltdown. Friday night, under the cover of darkness, I poured the bleach into the deep end, stirring it with the pool net until it vanished into the clear water. It looked normal, inviting even, but it was a trap ready to spring. I went to bed grinning, whispering to Sarah, "Tomorrow's going to be fun." She mumbled, "You're nuts," but I could hear her smiling in the dark. Saturday morning, I played it cool mode the lawn, took the kids for donuts, kept my phone close to check the camera feed. Right on cue, around noon, the gate creaked open. Linda strutted in, tote bag swinging, followed by 3 friends, all giggling and peeling off cover-ups. They dove in, splashing, laughing, Linda floating on a raft with her margarita like she was queen of the desert. I watched from my phone, heart pounding. For a few minutes, it was business as usual, music, chatter, clinking glasses. Then it started. One friend scratched her arm, frowning. Another squirmed, rubbing her neck. Linda tugged at her hair, confused, then let out a shriek that could have cracked glass. "My hair! Oh my God, what's happening to my hair?" Her perfect blonde locks were turning into a frizzy, brittle mess, streaks of orange creeping in like a bad dye job. Her friends scrambled out, clawing at their skin, yelling about burning. One slipped on the deck, nearly face-planting. Linda staggered to the ladder, her makeup smearing, her hair a tangled disaster. I leaned back in my chair, grinning so wide it hurt. The bleach had worked like a charm, not dangerous, just humiliating. The backyard was a war zone when they fled spilled wine, crushed chips, a sad raft drifting in the corner. I saved the footage, every glorious second, knowing it was gold. That evening, I caught Linda storming past my house, wrapped in a robe, her hair hidden under a scarf. She glared at me, hissing, "Something's wrong with your pool." I shrugged, calm as could be. "Funny, it's fine for me." She had no comeback, just slunk away, her friends trailing like soggy shadows. The neighborhood buzzed with gossip the next day. Linda skipped her usual HOA patrols, her confidence shattered. At the coffee shop, I overheard, "Did you see Linda's hair? Looks like she stuck her finger in a socket." Even the quiet neighbors, the ones she used to bully, were snickering. I didn't need to spread the story, it spread itself. But Linda wasn't done. She showed up at the next HOA meeting, scarf barely hiding her fried hair, ready to play the victim. The community center was packed, folding chairs creaking, coffee stale as always. When she stood up, interrupting the president, Tom, I knew what was coming. "There's a health hazard in this neighborhood," she declared, voice shrill. "A pool with dangerous chemicals. I've suffered my skin, my hair." The room murmured, confused. I stood, slow and deliberate. "That's funny, Linda. How do you know so much about my pool's chemicals?" Snickers rippled through the crowd. Her face flushed. "I was invited." I pulled out my phone, plugged in a USB, and let the footage roll on the projector. Linda sneaking in, partying, then shrieking as her hair betrayed her. The room exploded with laughter. Tom banged his gavel. "Linda, this is trespassing." You're fined and banned from community amenities for 6 months. She sputtered, but the crowd had turned. For once, she was the punchline. After that, Linda's reign was over. Neighbors stopped fearing her. Kids mocked her openly, chanting "Pool Queen" as they biked past. She tried to fight back, spreading rumors, calling the cops, even banging on my door one night, screaming, "You think you've won? This isn't over." I just leaned against the doorframe, cool as ice. "Linda, you did this to yourself." She stormed off, and for the first time, she didn't come back. Her final attempt at a comeback party was a flop. Her own pool was a murky mess, and her guests bailed early. Meanwhile, my yard became the neighborhood hub. People I'd barely spoken to stopped by, brought their kids to swim, shared a beer. The community wasn't Linda's anymore, it was ours. Looking back, sitting by my pool with the water shimmering under the stars, I realized this wasn't just about a pool or some bleach. It was about drawing a line. Linda thought she could take whatever she wanted, my space, my peace, because I was too nice to fight back. But I wasn't fighting for a pool. I was fighting for my home, my family, my right to say this is mine. And when I stood up, not with fists, but with a plan, the whole neighborhood changed. Linda's not gone, people like her never are, but she's not the queen anymore. She's just a neighbor, and a bad one at that. So what's your story? Got a Linda in your life? Some HOA tyrant or nosy neighbor who crossed the line? Drop it in the comments. I want to hear the wildest, pettiest, most infuriating thing you've dealt with. And let me know, was I too harsh? Or did Linda get what she deserved? Hit subscribe if you're ready for more stories like this. Because trust me, there's always another Karen or Linda waiting to stir up trouble.